Hey guys, it's Matt Fielder with MJF Guide Service giving you your June 24th fishing report. Guys, the water temperature right now is between 82 and 86 by the end of the day. I did see 87 at the very end of the day yesterday, but it's really warming up. The fishing's still pretty solid. I have noticed a few changes this week in particular. I think it has to do with that water warming up for us. There are still a lot of the same things in play, your typical summertime stuff. There's still some fish in the bushes right now and behind the bushes, so your buzzbait bite is really good right now, especially if you get out there in the morning. It seems to be better for me. If you can get in behind those bushes, even throwing them in between some of the gaps in the bushes, or even out on the front edge, you're going to pick up some largemouth, some spots, even a few smallmouth doing it. So that's really cool. Another topwater bait that's been working for me is the Berkeley cane walker. Caught a few on it this morning. They were really pushing shad up pretty shallow and, just blowing up all over the place. So that was actually out in front of the bushes this morning. But the Berkeley cane walker, really good bait, has a nice sound to it and walks really good, as well as spits really well. That's why I like it. This is a clear water color. Forget the exact name of it, but this is the one I was throwing today. They're available at Modern Outdoor Tackle, so just go in and pick a few up because they've been really working for me. Also some buzz baits. We've got them there. I've been throwing, I just typically take the skirt off the buzz bait. I've been throwing either a silver blade when I'm throwing something lighter in color, so I'll put on like a little swim bait on the back of it, like more of a fluke-style bait on the back, or like a gray or a white like toad type bait. That's been working for me as far as the buzz bait is concerned. Then as the sun gets up, they seem to get tighter to that cover. So I've been flipping around a Big Bopper by NetBait. It's been one of my favorite baits as of late. Another bait I've been throwing is a Kamikaze Craw. And one cool thing about the Kamikaze Craw is it has some holes in the pinchers and it leaves a little bubble trail as it goes on. So that's a pretty cool thing. I do think it gets a few more bites. The thing I like about the Big Bopper, it's kind of like a brush hog style bait, but it doesn't have the top appendages, so it goes through cover a lot better, in my opinion. But it still has the flanges coming off the back end, so you still get that really good action, but it falls through some of that thicker covers, those bushes and trees that are still flooded. With the water level being 927.02 as of today, so it's actually going down, which is for me, I don't really like flipping bushes all that much, but if you want to catch largemouth, it seems like that's the best way to catch the most amount of numbers of largemouth. But I have seen that start to change this week. A lot of fish are still out on points, so you'll see them stacked up out there, especially around noon when they, turn that water on, the sun gets high, they'll group up even tighter. In the mornings, they seem to be spread out a little bit more on some of these points, whether you're by the dam, they seem to be spread out more than they are in the river arms, whether that's the White or the James. The White and the James seem to be grouped up tighter. I did notice a little bit that they started to break up at the end of last week and the beginning of this week. But then when they turn that water on, it seems like it does pull them tighter together. So I've been throwing This is actually a living rubber football jig right here. And you know, one of the things that I feel like I've been getting some bites on it, instead of just dragging the football jig out there, I've actually been stroking it. I feel like I'm getting some reaction strikes out of that, and you know, catching some pretty good ones. You know, a lot of 3-pounders, some nice 3-pound smallmouth, some nice 3-pound spotted bass. I've actually ran into a few largemouth out there recently. Another bait, you know, I've been throwing, you know, this is a 6XD by Strike King here, and this is a Megabass Deep 6. Those have been my 2 favorite crankbaits so far this summer. I've also been throwing in there a Yozuri and a hardcore crankbait. You know, it doesn't, you just rip it by them and they just been slamming it. Another bait that I've been throwing out there on those points, this is a shuttlecock, and it's a, you know, it's just a white big size hair jig, and I've been stroking it as well. Another really cool technique I've done with this as well, I'll throw it out as far as I can, I'll let it kind of fall, get to the bottom, and then I'll crank it really fast for a second and then just kill it, and then crank it really fast, kill it. I mean, getting some bites that way. So you can either stroke it or really quick kill it, really quick kill it. Been getting a lot of key bites. Now, I've also been fishing a lot of brush, and they seem, over the last 2 days, it seems like more fish have gone to the brush, for me at least, and especially on brush that is next to where the main river channel makes a hard swing onto a point. It seems like those are the piles that have been loading up more for me, or from what I'm seeing, is that the river will make a, you know, a good channel swing, and then there will be a brush pile somewhere on that point. Those ones have been better for me. I've been throwing around a Zoom mag trick worm on a, you know, this is a shaky head, custom cast lure shaky head, and I've also been throwing a Berkeley hit worm. This is a plum color. I've also been throwing like a green pumpkin, you know, magic, green pumpkin purple gold. Those have been working really good for me, as well as the plum. Another bait, you know, I've been throwing around there. I'm still throwing that wacky rig. You know, if they don't seem to want to commit to really any of those baits, I've been just kind of dead sticking throwing it out, the wacky worm, with, actually it's a Nico rig, because you got the nail weight in the nose, and then just letting it fall down over that brush pile, and then just working it. They normally come up and get it. Sometimes you have to get it just inside those tips if they're being really finicky, but you will catch them on it. I mean, I've been doing it, you know, at the end of last week and early so far this week. It's been pretty good for me. And then another cool thing is more and more fish are, you know, showing up in some trees. You know, trees are a big thing on Table Rock. They always have been. They're, you know, you can always find fish in trees, but I'm seeing more and more load up in those trees, especially on some of those channel swing spots, whether the trees are on a point or a hard channel swing, you know, without a point. Kind of go look in those trees, guys, because more and more fish are showing up to them. I've been throwing the Cast Echo in the 3.5 inch, and, you know, really all the colors. You know, Ozark shad, you know, blueback herring. So, I mean, they've been really eating it, guys, and it seems to be that medium-sized bait or that bigger bait's been getting the most bites for me rather than the really small ones. So, getting a lot of chasers, a lot of followers. I've also been throwing, you know, a Prodigy by Cast. And these are the two colors I've been throwing, Bankroll and Big Bow. The Big Bow is really cool because it's pretty translucent. It's got a dark back, but it also has like a pinkish color running through the middle of it. It looks more like a shad to me than more of a trout, but these are the two colors. I've been catching them out on some of these points or over these treetops or brush piles, just kind of on the swim baits on the points. I've been just letting it go all the way to the bottom and just reeling really, really slow. That seems to be really key, is reeling it pretty slow and making like you're counting the rocks as you're bringing that bait in. So guys, the fishing is still good, even if it's hot outside. I mean, it's been scorching here this week, and you know but the fishing is still good. You know, I've been, you know, yesterday I had 14 hours worth of trips and caught them all day from, you know, 5 a.m. all the way to 7 p.m. The bite, you know, there was some lully times, but for the most part, they've been biting. And then, like, you know, I had 2 today, 1 in the morning, 1 midday, and they still bit. So the fishing's still good, guys. You can stop in at Modern Outdoor Tackle and pick up all the tackle I talked about in this video. We've got them in stock, and you know, go in, pick up some tackle, and then get out in the water and catch some fish. Good luck fishing this week, and we'll see you guys next week.